Hi there, my name is Jo and I'm the proud owner of Retro Graphics, your one and only choice for all your graphic design, print, and wrap needs in Alberta. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 main elements to a great logo design: target audience, font choice, color theory, avoiding the obvious, and keeping it simple. With me, typically the process for a brand new logo design is about half an hour to an hour. It really depends how much thought a client has put into their new idea. This discovery process isn't just for brand new businesses only. I apply the same, if not more, questions to those who already have a logo to find out what they like or dislike about what they have going on currently and where we can make necessary tweaks to get them something they really love. For some, this process seems overwhelming, but once we sit down with a cup of coffee or tea, we can usually hammer out the details pretty quickly, and just from some general questions, I can get a pretty good idea of what they're looking for. A good rule of thumb is that businesses should update their logo every 7 to 10 years. This provides a great opportunity for them to review most, if not all, of their marketing materials and make some additions or deletions where necessary. So to start, I like to find out a client's key demographic. Who is their ideal client avatar? Who are their best clients? A logo to attract a 20-something to mid-30s audience is going to be different than those trying to capture a more mature 50 to 65-year-old audience. There are many factors that go into this other than just age though, such as gender. Do they need a more feminine logo with curvy lines or something more masculine with sharp, straight lines? What type of lifestyle do their clients lead? Are their clients the stay-at-home soccer mom, or are they the oil-filled guy who works in the field and has a ton of disposable cash? Are their ideal clients married? Are they widowed? Are they divorced? Single? Where do their ideal clients come from? Are they local? Are they typically coming from out of town? Does this client service all of Alberta? There's so many things to consider because each business and industry are so wildly different. We can also capture something that blankets a larger audience, but typically when you're more specific, most clients have no idea where to start when it comes to fonts. There are your more widely known and generic fonts like Arial, Gotham, and Helvetica that are used very often in logos, but also just in documents in general. By finding out their ideal client prior to talking about fonts, I can narrow down to a select few that I think would work really well for the audience they're trying to capture. As a designer, I also have to choose fonts that don't compete for attention with one another, but also are not so different that people don't know where to focus. The key here is to find a nice balance somewhere in the middle while still maintaining a focus on the client's style. Script fonts and really curvy fonts are typically categorized as being more feminine and wouldn't be used for a general construction company. Sharp, modern, clean line fonts would be more fitting because that's what people are looking for in a renovation, something modern and clean. Serif fonts such as Baskerville, Dido, Garamond, Georgia, and Times are more traditional in nature, sophisticated, reliable, practical, and formal. They pair well with sans serif fonts, script fonts, and display fonts. We typically use these fonts in logos, body copy, web text, titles, and printed materials. Sans serif fonts such as Avenir, Futura, Gill Sans, Helvetica, and Verdana are more modern, clean, geometric, and universal fonts. They pair well with serif, script, and slab serif fonts that are typically used in logos, body copy, titles, and for small text. Script fonts such as Buttermilk, Edwardian Script, Isabella, Snell Roundhand, and Zapfino are very elegant, classic fonts that can be used for very formal, sophisticated applications. These fonts pair well with serif or sans serif fonts and are typically used for invitations, in logos, and titles. They are usually too much to look at for body copy, so they have very selective uses. Slab serif fonts such as Clarendon, Copsey, Josephine, Museo, and Silverflake are very bold, contemporary, trendy fonts that have a friendly feel and are typically solid fonts used for logos and titles. These fonts only pair well with sans serif fonts because they are typically the font competing for the most of your attention. Every font has its own personality, so it's important to know your audience when selecting fonts. Choosing a font that matches your audience's expectations and your document's purpose are very important because the wrong font can ruin an entire document or target demographic. Color is the deepest dive in my discovery process. Every color has implications and needs to be picked carefully to instill certain emotions and bring nuance to your message with the use of shade and tone. Bright and bold colors are typically more brash, but are becoming more commonplace in logo designs, while a muted tone conveys a more sophisticated image, but runs the risk of being overly low-key. When creating a new logo design, I typically like to have people tell me what their favorite color is as a baseline. In a standard brand guidelines, I provide 5 colors: a bold one, a complementary one to the bold color, a neutral, a dark, and a light color. So the bold color. This is usually the business owner's favorite color. Their eyes light up when they see things that are this color and want to wear this color all the time. Now, this color isn't necessarily the primary color in their logo, but it's usually the color that stands out the most. When creating their logo, it may not be included in the logo itself, but can be used as a background color in general, or typically the background in a crest style logo. I don't usually need much from a client besides their primary color choice. Some clients do come to me with a color palette already chosen. While this might seem like it makes my job easier, in some cases it makes things trickier. For instance, they may not have chosen complementary colors. With minor tweaks, we can usually get to an agreeable color palette fairly quickly, but if the colors they have provided aren't very industry standard, then they typically don't want an out-of-the-box design. My worst nightmare is providing a client with a very industry standard brand. And what I mean by that is, think of your friendly neighborhood yoga studio. Do you see a seafoam green, maybe a lotus flower? In the health and wellness sector, lotus flowers are very popular. Now, I'm not saying your logo must not include elements that are industry standard, but I like to think outside the box and push the boundaries of industry standards with my designs. I'm not saying that I'll turn that yoga studio's brand into something with very aggressive colors like red and black, but I like my clients to have an open mind to the colors they would typically not see in their industry. Something that I might choose is more along the lines of coral with an emerald and gold. Coral being a light pink for those who don't know what coral is, emerald and gold bringing in notes of luxuriousness, with coral being the calming color. This ties in nicely to the next section, avoid the obvious. Aren't you tired of seeing the muscly arm for a gym logo or a steaming cup of coffee for a coffee shop? Let's switch lanes. There are so many more options than a muscly arm or body for a gym logo. And I pick on gyms in this section because everyone has seen the Gold's Gym logo. Gyms are usually more bold on the color side, so why be boring with their icon? Doesn't make sense, does it? Don't get me wrong, you don't go to the gym to gain fat, you go to gain muscle, so you think it makes the most sense. I get it. But why not make your gym logo unique? Gold's Gym in particular, I would love to make them a new logo that actually stands out. Now, I'm not saying that there are applications where an obvious icon won't be used. There are creative spins that we can put onto a wine bottle for a liquor store or a golf club for a golf course. Straying too far out of industry standards can also cause confusion, so working with a designer is beneficial to help you skirt those lines. I don't have much to say here other than always apply the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. You don't need elements in your logo illustrating what your company does beside an icon and the words that make up your business name. It's too much for people to look at, and for the simpler folk, too much to comprehend. There is so much more fun in capturing someone's interest with your logo and being able to have that almost mysteriousness that entices people to want to learn more about your company. You can dive into what your company can offer them in your marketing literature or in meetings with your clients. An icon that's enticing and makes sense is important here, and lots of people put the main letters of their logo into the icon to make it recognizable. Clients typically need to see your brand 12 different times to remember it, so be consistent in everything you're posting on social channels, what you're wearing, what's on your vehicles, business cards, and other marketing materials. Now that I've gone through all that, if you know anyone looking to give their brand an update or someone who is brand new in business and looking for a helping hand to guide them in the right direction of creating a successful brand, please either direct them to this video so they can learn some of the basics or pass along my information and we can have a chat. Until next time.